Okay, so where do we start? One of the things that has been greatly underestimated about Kenya's food production potential is the suitability map of the better part of our country that we have called arid and semi-arid. I choose to think of that space as the blue savanna. And the blue savanna is an integration of agroecological zones, which is basically arable land that has primarily been neglected, but I think more importantly, has not been part of our food system. So when we watch the current crisis that we find ourselves in, the national disaster that is the drought that we're faced with, it's actually very telling that the spaces that have been hit by drought fall within the blue savanna. And what is even more profound is that when you look at the amount of investment that has gone into development funding, primarily not by Kenyan taxpayers' money through the exchequer and through appropriation, but primarily through foreign policy from other countries, a great deal of it has gone into the blue savanna. However, when you look at the returns, we're still not able to see a dividend that allows for the blue savanna to be part of our food system. As a country, we're still relying on what I like to call the White Highland counties, those that were predominantly designed around the Rift Valley, parts of Western Kenya, Central Kenya. And if you look at our net GDP around agriculture, it's primarily coming from cash crops in those areas. So when we think of the future of food in Kenya, the blue savanna is definitely the opportunity to pay attention to. We need to be able to, even in the process of climate action, begin to ask ourselves what it is that we can do deliberately beyond drought. So there needs to be a deliberate policy framework. And when we look at the agriculture sector strategy, both the growth strategy at a national government level and the agriculture sector development strategy at a county level, we have the counties, all 47, with a strategy around food. So how do we identify the blue savanna counties and begin to deliberately create a supply chain that allows for the productivity that is coming out of counties like Wajir, that is coming out of counties like Tana River, Kilifi, Taita Taveta, and ensure that what we have is a supply chain that connects to the hubs, because the hubs are where we have the railway lines, the northern corridors, the Lapsset corridors, the Mombasa port, the international airports of Nairobi and Mombasa. So there's an integration that is required. But there's a deliberate leadership that needs to be thought through. I always give the example of Kilifi, and when you look at the 20 million or so acres that make up Kilifi County, what is evident is that Kilifi County is made up of both your windward and leeward side. A lot of what is described as the arid and semi-arid lands of Ganze, Magarini, Kaloleni, parts of Rabai are considered to be drought-stricken. In fact, most of the times when you think of drought in this country, you won't go without hearing a story of Kilifi. But at the same time, you have the food baskets of Kilifi South, Kilifi North. You have elements and pockets that are able to then produce, but then you have the ocean as well. So the integration of those productivity zones of those 24 acres is primarily caught up in one challenge: family disputes. And so the idea of resolving our food system at the very core is around a land ordinance or a land structure that is primarily in the hands of family that have not been able to figure out a way of how to organize productivity.